Welcome to Higher Mind Yoga Podcast, a place where we'll be sharing experiences in transformation, yoga, meditation, plant medicines, and mysticism. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for listening to the Higher Mind Yoga Podcast. On the last podcast, I brought you the story of the Hatha Yoga Project. Hopefully you enjoyed that. So I did a little further research, and I found a video of Dr. Sir Jim Mallison, a documentary from the BBC called, I think it's called East Meets West, or West Meets East. I'll put a link there on highermindyoga.com if you haven't visited there. You can, actually there's a couple of links there that you can help out the podcast. Patreon, so it's patreon.com/HMY. Highermindyoga.com also has those. And I'll put whatever pertinent links that I talk about on the podcast at those addresses on the internet. Higher Mind Yoga. We're listening to something called 1 Hour Zen Music by Vana. I'm pretty sure that is the name of it. I will put a link to Vayana. I will put a link there on Higher Mind Yoga, so you can check out their music. You can download free stuff, check out their stuff, and thank you for letting me use this as a bed for the Higher Mind Yoga Podcast. So as I was watching the East Meets West podcast, and one of the focuses of Higher Mind Yoga is, yes, the use of cannabis and the use of cannabis with yoga, which has been historic. I mean, I need to find an actual, what I'm looking for is an actual document, something that actually says it, or someone who actually comes out. It's always hidden in the background, or it's there. If you go to the any of the older videos or anything, any kind of film, and you see the sadhus in their asanas, there's usually a chillum present. When you go to India, and in India, supposedly these are the practitioners, the original practitioners, where they've been practicing this for so many years, and where the practice of yoga evolved. And then it seems that when it reached the West, I know originally it was draped in psychedelia and being gurued like the Beatles and George Harrison. But slowly but surely it looks like it was corporatized here in the West. And in India, where several of the holidays, like Holi, the welcoming of spring, and if I'm not mistaken, I may be pronouncing it Shivarati, is also welcomed with the drinking of Bhang or Bhang, concoction of cannabis and other spices and stuff, you know, and it is ingested and during these holidays. But somehow in the West, it's infiltrated, and I've run across a few articles, and how cannabis and yoga don't mix. So let me play this little excerpt here of James Mallison, Dr. James Mallison, Sir James Mallison, Mahant James Mallison, speaking with his guru, Babaji. James Mallison, who's also doing deep research and has done a lot of research into yoga and the roots of yoga, sits with his guru, and his guru tells a story of cannabis and Shiva while smoking copious amounts of cannabis. Does yoga and cannabis go together? Let's see.
Like most sadhus we've met, Babaji spends much of his day smoking a small clay pipe called a chillum, which contains a mixture of tobacco and marijuana.
महाराज ये पूछना चाहता है कि आपको क्या फायदा मिलता है दम लगाने से?
फायदा क्या मिलता, बाबा बने हुए और इसमें क्या फायदा? हाफ नहीं, कोई लोभ लालच सब त्याग के फुल बैराग में हो जाते हैं और हैप्पीनेस हो जाते हैं। कोई तरह का बाहर का कोई झंझट नहीं है। साधु लाइफ इन वन दिस टाइप सिस्टम है, चिलम पीना। ओम नमः शिवाय। जड़ी बूटी है ना कहते हैं। ये हमारा ड्रग नहीं है, नो ड्रग्स।
Shiva himself doesn't smoke, but dope is present to the world. And there was a myth that he drunk this poison was going to destroy the whole world. He finished drinking it, turned his conch shell upside down on Mount Kailash. There were a few drops left in the conch shell, and they dripped down, went into the Himalayas and the forests, and from that was produced cannabis.
Wow. That's brilliant.
Brilliant it is. That other voice there was Dominic West. Some of you might recognize him from The Wire, if you ever watched that program on HBO. Interesting program there. So just to reiterate that story, that myth, the mythology, and it just kind of it befuddles me when there are people like I think I pronounced Sadhguru. He's an outspoken gentleman, a guru on the internet, and he has an ashram, and it looks like in India he is a big spokesman there, a big spokesperson, but he's anti-cannabis, which is interesting. Because his devotion is of Shiva, the Lord of Bhang, or Bhang, or whatever you want to call it. So it's kind of contradictory to the fact that, and he's also built what I think at the World Guinness record holding bust, gigantic, enormous size bust of Shiva. But meanwhile, this person is anti-cannabis. Interesting. I don't know. There's some of the stuff that I kind of like the Sadhguru. There's certain things that I like about him, but overall, a lot of his wisdom, unfortunately, comes wrapped with a lot of ignorance. But anyway, the story of Shiva comes the one that the sadhu guru was telling there, which was reiterated by Jim Mallison. I'll give you a little. There's different versions because the story travels throughout the country, and there's little changes to it. So they were churning the ocean of milk. This is the story. So the devas, the gods, and the Rakshas, the demons, got together for the colossal task of churning the cosmic ocean. Mount Mandara was used as the pole to stir the waters. Vishnu's Kurma avatar, the turtle, that big tortoise, balanced the mountain on its back, thereby preventing it from sinking into the depths of the unfathomable ocean. The great serpent Vasuki, the one that's around Shiva's neck, was used as the churning rope. So they have a mountain, they have a giant tortoise, and a giant snake. As the ocean was churned, a lot of goodies came out of it, with the devs and the rakshas distributed amongst themselves. But from the depths of the ocean also came out the halahal, or kalkut, visha, poison. When the poison was taken out, it started heating up the cosmos. Such was its heat that the people started to run in dread. Animals started to die. Plants started to wither. The Visha had no taker. Hence Shiva came to everyone's rescue. And he drank the Visha poison. But he did not swallow it. He kept the poison in his throat. Since then, Shiva's throat became blue. And he came to be known as Neelkantha, or blue-throated one. Now this caused immense heat in Shiva, and Shiva started to get restless, and having a restless Shiva is not a good omen. So the gods undertook the task of cooling off Shiva. According to one of the legends, Chandra, the moon god, went to Shiva's head to cool him off. Some legends even claim that Shiva moved to Mount Kailash, which has sub-zero temperatures all year round. Also in the Amrit, the nectar that arose out of the Samudra Manthan. That was used to cool Shiva, and as he drank from the conch, and turned it over, drops of it spilled and landed throughout the mountains, and we were given Shiva's gift. The gift of cannabis. Boom, Shankara. And here is another interesting clip from a film called Naked Queen. I will also be placing a link to this at highermindyoga.com.
When Shiva next returned home, exhausted by his exploits, Parvati gave Shiva some of this medicine she had found. And in the darkness of the night, Shiva consumed the pungent flower. Its powers triggered a reawakening, a recognition of Parvati's divine nature, an awareness of the imbalance. The stars of Parvati's longing and the planets of Shiva's revelation were united, and they became one. Harmony was restored. To celebrate, Shiva shared Pavarti's botanical discovery as a gift to humanity. And that gift was cannabis.
An interesting telling. I don't know how accurate or how historic, but I like it. It needs researching. I'd check out that video. Seems pleasant enough. The Naked Queen, a scene from the film. And you can find the full-length documentary at cannabisculture.com. As far as the cannabis culture front in yoga, there's only two women actually that come to mind. There might be other ones, but these are the ones that seem to pop in the media. One is Rachel Carlevale and her Ganjasana. Seems pretty cool. So she looks like she's definitely going deep into the plant medicine aspect. I should actually try to get her for an interview for this podcast. All in good coming. Like my idea with the podcast as far as interviewing is I'd like to do it face to face, which seems optimal. But since everyone can't be in the New York area, and I can't be flying out to everyone, I might have to invest in that whole Skype experience, which I'm not a fan of. But if I can avoid it, I will. Rachel Carvale, I think I'm pronouncing, seems to be doing interesting things. And it looks like she also was able to put together a continuing education module through Yoga Alliance. So you can check her out, Ganja Asana. So Ganja, S-A-N-A, or Ganj, G-A-A-N-J, and then Asana, ASANA.com. There'll be a link in the podcast notes. And then the other person is Dee Dussault. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right. And her website is Ganja Yoga. Right now, I can't tell if she has anything going on because it looks like her site is going through maintenance. But she's been doing this for a while. She has got a pretty good following regarding her ganja tours and her events. So it's few and far in between. But I imagine in places where cannabis is legal for adult use, the combination of the divine herb and yoga are probably a lot more prevalent. I've even doing a little research with this particular podcast, found a few places in LA even doing a Shiva ritual, which I find interesting. And I also did a little research and was finding some other writings on cannabis. And this I found on Psychology Today. And cannabis has a long history in India, veiled in legends and religion. The earliest mention of cannabis has been found in the Vedas, or sacred Hindu texts. These writings may have been compiled as early as 2000 to 4000 BCE. According to the Vedas, cannabis was one of the 5 sacred plants, and a guardian angel lived in its leaves. The Vedas call cannabis a source of happiness, joy giver, liberator, that was compassionately given to humans to help us attain delight and lose fear. It releases us from anxiety. The god Shiva is frequently associated with cannabis, called Bhang in India. According to legend, Shiva wandered off the fields after an angry discourse with his family. Drained from the family conflict, the hot sun, he fell asleep under a leafy plant. When he awoke, his curiosity led him to sample the leaves of the plant. Instantly rejuvenated, Shiva made the plant his favorite food, and he became known as the Lord of Bhang. And I further go down the article and I find this other interesting bit here. The British, yes, the British, found the use of cannabis so extensive in colonial India that they commissioned a large-scale study in the late 1890s. They were concerned that the abuse of cannabis was endangering the health of native people and driving them insane. The British government, of course, asked the government of India to appoint a commission to look into the cultivation of the hemp plant, preparations of the drugs from it, trade in those drugs, and the social and moral impact of its consumption and possible prohibition. Over 1,000 standardized interviews were conducted throughout India by eminent British and Indian medical experts. The commission was systematic and thorough. It sampled a large and diverse group of people in a range of situations, from farmers to hospitals, psychiatrics. After years of detailed work, the Indian Hemp Drug Commission report produced 6 volumes of data and conclusions. Commissioners were particularly concerned with whether or not cannabis caused psychosis. After years of thorough and well-conducted research, the commission concluded that suppressing the use of herbal cannabis Bhang would be totally unjustifiable. They concluded that its use is very ancient, has some religious sanctions among Hindus, and is harmless in moderation. In fact, more harm was done by alcohol. Furthermore, prohibition would be difficult to enforce, encourage outcries by religious clerics, and possibly lead to the use of more dangerous narcotics. These findings of the Indian Hemp Drug Commission report of 1894, conducted over 100 years ago, are surprisingly relevant today. So there you go. A little knowledge, a little insight, a little slowing down of ignorance. And I'm not saying you have to smoke anything. I'm not saying you have to drink anything. But what gives you the right to stop me or anyone else in trying to become one. With the earth, through the mother plant. You may choose, or you may not choose. To imbibe or partake of the plant of enlightenment, the herb of the pineal gland. And if at the moment you're doing something that does not need your full attention, I welcome you to close your eyes, breathe in deeply, very deeply. And exhale. And gently close your eyes. And turn your attention inwards. Either seated at a chair or in a comfortable seated position. And breathing in. And breathing out. Continue to consciously be aware of your breath. Keeping it deep but gentle. So gently use your mind's eye to visualize. If you have partaken of the mother plant, this may come a little easier. So breathe in and breathe out. And with the next inhale, focus your attention to the space between your eyebrows. the third eye, the pineal gland. Focus your energy there. If you can, try to imagine the space between your eyebrows feels cool. Refreshed. Maybe emanating a gentle blue light. And maybe that light is a soft hue of blue. As we breathe in and breathe out. And as we gently keep our awareness focused on that third eye chakra, feeling the cool blue. As it gently seems to get darker and richer in shades of blue, and wisps of indigo. As the visualization continues, you can see that small orb in the area of where your pineal gland is, your third eye. An orb is starting to expand in gentle warmth. Gently revolving within itself in hues of blue and indigo, gently swirling. As you breathe in, as you breathe out. The glow from this third eye orb of energy, of tranquil, cooling, peaceful energy begins to gently caress your head. your forehead, your ears, your eyes, down your face, feeling the cool, refreshing gentle safety. As the light gently caresses your shoulders, and goes down your arms to your elbows, to your forearm, to your wrists and your fingers, to the fingertips, and gently the sensation of the blue indigo safety glowing brilliance makes its way down your chest, your solar plexus, your abdomen, your hips, your lower back, your glutes, your lower hips, your thighs, your knees, your calves, your ankles, and slowly the safety and coolness and brilliance of this third eye light gently caresses your feet and then gently swallows your toes. Breathe in deeply. Exhale completely. Now just take these few moments to enjoy the beauty and the refreshing sensation that is enveloping your body, your skin, your essence. Thank you for listening to this Higher Mind Yoga podcast. Namaste.